Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
we're now in the middle of Monster March, and admittedly, so far the hits to misses have been kind of low.
Kinda.
Especially shocked that our previous one was pretty bad.
It's really bad. Can't wait for Monster March to be done.
But I've got pretty high expectations that you probably like this one.
I don't know, you kind of saying that makes me think, I don't know. You know, like when somebody goes, oh, this is an amazing film, and then like a critic rates it like outstanding.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then I'm like, oh.
You have high expectations going in.
Yeah, so I'm trying to squander it. So that you saying I'm going to like it, I'm like, maybe I won't, and then I'll be pleasantly surprised.
But the reason with this one is because it's a musical, and you generally like things that have musicals in them. So
I do. Singing in the Rain, La La Land,
Dirty Dancing. I mean, obviously that's. But
well,
I mean,
dancing then is musical. Like God.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying things that are like iconic music.
Yeah.
And the film is Little Shop of Horrors, directed by Frank Oz, who has done work with the Muppets because he voices a few of the Muppets.
Kermit?
No, like Fozzie Bear.
Oh, okay.
And Miss Piggy, I believe.
Are you telling me Miss Piggy is a man?
I'm pretty sure that's right.
Are you really? Well, until you get your facts, I'm not believing that.
A few moments later.
Yep. Frank Oz is a British-born American actor, filmmaker, and puppeteer. He began his career as a puppeteer, performing the Muppets characters of Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal, and Sam Eagle in The Muppet Show, and Cookie Monster, Bert, and Grover in Sesame Street.
No man can do that noise. No, I'm not having it. That's when a woman is truly miffed off. That's how I feel about Monster March at the moment.
There you go, you learned something there, and I kind of learned something there. I didn't know he did that. I know you could tell with some of the inflections of the voices, he does like Sam the Eagle and Animal.
Yeah, and now I've completely forgot what you were trying to tell me about this film. I'm in utter shock.
That he directed it, is what?
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Yeah. So obviously the connection there being in a way the fact that there's the creature or the monster in this is puppeteered basically.
Okay, so can't be that
like
scary then.
CGI or
unless it's like a sketsy. They're a bit freaky. Who did he get to do the puppeteering? Same people that do the Muppets. Because they don't they do Dark Crystal as well? Or same.
Jim Henson did.
Yeah.
And then Frank Oz directed that as well. So
just thinking if he's done voiceovers for the Muppets, he's got connections. So what you'd get?
Yes, there was people who worked on from the Muppet Show helped when Dark Crystal essentially as well. So
okay, right, that's promising then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dark Crystal puppet. Somebody who voices Miss Piggy that directed it. Okay. And it's a musical.
Yes.
Okay. What else?
What do you mean?
What else can you tell me?
What the synopsis is?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
In the hopes of turning around the fortunes of his failing floral business, a nerdy florist purchases a bloodthirsty plant from a Chinese street vendor.
Beanie's Flytrap.
Kind of.
That's the only bloodthirsty plant I can think of. Is it going to be like off Mario?
You're on the right lines. Yeah, the red and white spotted thing. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not going to be scary. Just don't go near it. It's not got legs, has it? It's in a pot, so unless it can jump, then whoever dies by it is clearly stupid, in my opinion. No? Clearly just don't go near it. Right? And then I know you won't have a movie, but...
Yeah. in theory, yes. Yeah. But there's a bit more to it than that.
Oh, okay.
To be fair. It's not completely... It's not just solely a head.
Oh, okay.
So...
Got arms. Vines. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you're getting it, yeah. Yeah. And when we come back after watching the film, we'll have another person joining us to discuss the film.
Are we just leaving people in suspense? Or are you going to say? We can let her introduce herself, can't we? We'll let you know it's a she, so we've got a bit of girl power.
Well, we'll see from the title, and if they skip ahead a little bit, they'll soon hear who it is anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not quite like leaving it a week and then going back to it a week later to find out who it is. So
it should be good.
Yeah. So we'll speak to you shortly.
If you were to put a strange and interesting plant like this here in the window, then maybe...
Maybe what? Maybe what? Do you have any idea how ridiculous you sound? Just because you put a strange and interesting plant in the window, people don't suddenly...
Excuse me. I couldn't help noticing that strange and interesting plant. What is it?
It's an orchard, too.
I've never seen anything like it before.
No one has.
Where did you get it?
Well, you remember that total eclipse of the sun about a week ago?
And we're back from watching Little Shop of Horrors. And we are not alone this time in what we're about to review, as we have a very, very, very special guest coming out of podcast retirement for one time only. We have Gemma from the Skip to the End podcast joining us. Hello, Gemma.
Hello there. It's very creaky where I've been, so it's nice to be out in the world of podcasting again.
I'm very, very happy to have you on, because a lot of people know that the Skip to the End podcast was one of the inspirations for wanting to start the show of ours. So I feel very privileged to have you as a guest and to be talking about a film you're very fond of.
Well, it's very, very sweet of you. The pleasure is all mine, if I'm honest. So thank you for letting me come onto your podcast. So I'm very, very grateful. But yes, I'm extremely excited to be talking about some crazy, sassy, intergalactic plants with you.
So what is your relationship with this film? Is this something that you've kind of seen from your childhood, or what's your background?
Funnily enough, it's a film that I didn't really have a big relationship when I was younger. I think it's one of those films that bypassed me as I was growing up. So I absolutely loved musicals growing up. You know, I had Disney everywhere. I was a big fan of Grease, and of course the greatest musical of all time, Grease 2. But for some reason, Little Shop of Horrors always went the other way. So I kind of just, went on about my life. And then as I got older, sort of in my 20s, I started noticing certain pop culture references that I knew was associated with the film. So, for example, Family Guy, where they did a parody of Somewhere That's Green. So a lot of references from The Simpsons and South Park in regards to Audrey 2. And then I suppose I kind of linked everything together. So I thought, let's give it a watch one day. And it's just a gloriously camp and wonderful and fantastic musical that's obviously got a little bit of B-movie monsterness to it as well. But it's so joyful.
I actually agree. So Paul does this thing every March, and this is going to be the last one, which I'm grateful for, is he calls it Monster March, and this is where we're at. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big monster film girl. So I think my best monster film, I would say, is Godzilla. Like, that's like my highlight. I love Godzilla.
Wait, you like King Kong as well, the Peter Jackson one, you said?
Yeah, but still, Godzilla it's just, there's no brainer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can attest to that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's like my bar of a monster March film, really. Yeah. So we've had quite a few this month where it's been a bit of a slog for me, and I've been like, I do not want to do Monster Match ever again until
I come up with this one, thinking, right, Sophie's probably going to like this because she really likes musicals. Like Singing in the Rain is now probably her favorite film.
Oh, I'm so with you on that. Just a hallowed piece of cinematic marvelness. Beautiful.
It's amazing, and it just makes you want to dance. Yeah. It's just. I know Paul was on about it's now coming out in 4K, so it even looks even more amazing.
So I'll probably be picking that up to add to the collection.
Oh, that definitely needs to be watched immediately. I'll go get that on my list too.
So I think for me, I was like, oh, okay, Little Shop of Horrors. I didn't know, you kind of read the blurb to me, don't you? You get the gist of what it's about. And I was like, okay, not sure how I'm feeling. But the amount of stuff that I knew, because I've never seen this film before, ever. This is the first time I've watched it. And Feed Me Seymour, how many times has that been on something? And I've not known what it meant.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I've probably even said it and not known why I've said it.
Just one of those things that, again, pop culture is just so ingrained in with that saying and some various other little bits that you might have seen on TV and stuff like.
I don't know why I want to add on though. Feed Me Seymour, I am your neighbour. I don't know what that is. Is that something, or have I just made that up?
I think you've made that up. Maybe I don't know. Something I don't know.
I don't recall it. Not even like, maybe in an episode of like Coronation Street. But no, that's a new one.
I don't know if it's a song or if it's. I think
it wasn't a song in this. So yeah.
No, I mean I'll use it in a sentence.
Wait, I think maybe
next week I'll just see what I get.
The only thing I can think of that you might be twigging, I think maybe it's the Outcast song.
Polaroid picture one.
Lend me some sugar, I am your neighbour. Not Feed Me Seymour.
I was thinking about like Miss Jackson, like Feed Me Seymour, ooh, I am your neighbour. But then that doesn't work. It's not the lyrics.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
That could be it. I think we've tackled that, guys. That's good.
Yeah. I think I merged. I do this, don't I? I merge so many things together. Like I think I've got a bit of a goldfish brain. Yeah. So some stuff sticks, and then other things just don't. And Feed Me Seymour has been in my head probably more than I'm a because I probably say it when I'm hungry, and I'm like, but I don't know why I've been saying it until this film.
It all comes together eventually, like peanut butter and jelly. Exactly, it's two things merged together, and this is it. Feed Me Seymour, I am your neighbour. Magic.
Yeah. For me, the first time I saw it, I think was in like a university. But interestingly enough, the reason I wanted to do this film is because when you guys at Skip to the End did the latest comeback special, you did it was 2021, and you were talking about top 3 best director's cuts endings.
Yeah, that's the one.
And you brought up Little Shop of Horrors, and I didn't know there was a director's cut where it was a completely different ending to how I had seen it from the theatrical cut of the Little Shop of Horrors, where, like, spoilers, that at the end of that film they go off and live happily ever after, as when it's total carnage with what happens in the end of in the director's cut. So I was like, what? I've got to like check this out. So I'd obviously seen up to a certain point of like various times of seeing the film, but not how the director's cut ending was. So I was kind of intrigued to know how that plays out and if it like was made the film any better. And I'm going to say right off the bat, it really does make a difference, and it works in its favor tenfold.
Oh, it's marvelous, and I really like that. Something like that really does kind of turn the film on its own axis, and especially with the themes that we see throughout the film. There's so many layers to the whole film. I mean, one of the core messages I got from that, it's very much all about capitalism. And with the original ending, it's all very much like that's the dream. You buy things to make you happy. Yeah. But with this, like, it's almost like the consumerism eats up everybody going out to buy all these things, and therefore everybody is, for want of a word, a little bit messed. So it kind of I didn't want to swear. I'm sorry. I swear too much on the podcast, so I really want to go and make this quite nice to hear. So I want to use a bit more wording. But yeah, everyone gets a little bit fudged, shall we say? But I do. I love how chaotic it is at the end, because it's literally like they've just ripped out all the rule books and just gone, just get on with it, just do what you got to do. And I love that. And you never see that in musicals, in sort of Broadway adaptations, although I believe that was the original Broadway adaptation.
Yeah, that's why I did research onto it. Yeah, and that's what it was kind of said that was the intent anyway. So obviously they probably wouldn't have had smash into buildings and stuff like
no.
But to some degree they must have done something to be like, the plants take over the world or something. I don't know, but yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that you don't often see a lot of films with that ambiguity towards the end. I think film audiences are very much conditioned to believe in a happy ending, whether it be, I don't know, like a love story, whether it be a drama, whether it be a crime story where things get solved and it's a neat little bow and people move on.
Yeah.
But I mean, this really does deal with the fact that the whole city is just run amok with big green cacti that's got a bit of space in them, just running amok. But I and of course, set with like kind of that kind of doo-wop kind of music in the background. So it just makes such a surreal viewing, but I love it. It's one of my favorite endings. And boo hiss to traditional cinema viewers.
I know, especially the fact that, like they put all that effort to do that, and then the test audiences were like, nah, we want the happy ending. Yeah. To be someone who like my job doing like animation stuff or, like drawings and stuff, and then for someone to be like, nah, we want to change this whole section that you worked hours and hours on, like fuming about it. So it's, yeah.
I'm livid.
Yeah.
Livid.
It's quite strange for me because this is the only ending I knew. So obviously this is my first watch, and then I've just seen the pure carnage. I'm not gonna lie, I am a typical cliche happy ending girl normally.
All good.
That's how I would normally go.
Yeah.
And you did show me the ending, didn't you?
Yeah, clip on YouTube. So how does it compare really in retrospect?
Obviously, from a happy path, it would be nice if Audrey and Seymour did get together and they could live a happy life, because you do feel like they are down in the dumps and they deserve that happy ending, because obviously they've been struggling and they're the underdogs. I'm British, so I'm going to root for an underdog and want them to have a happy ending. But at the same time, I do enjoy the full carnage at the end. I just don't feel like the plant should have got like being able to have poor Audrey and then like Seymour, and then it'd be like the plants won. That was my only kind of like but I don't know how I'd wanted it to end differently, because I don't think the ending of the little white picket fence was enough.
Yeah, it's very short.
I feel like it needs to be somewhere in the middle, so not full carnage where everyone dies, but not completely like la-di-da walking down like with a picnic basket.
Yeah.
I think that's the price of commercialism. You kind of, these products that we're conditioned to go out and buy and ensure that our life is enriched in order to buy these products, they're just going to come out and take over. And I kind of like that little touch that it's a very much nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But also I kind of feel that story is very ahead of our time, because now we're in the age of Instagram, the age of influencers, the age of, people doing the bare minimum, but they get thousands and thousands of pounds and adoration and fans just because they drink a certain drink or they're wearing a certain brand of clothing. It's so far ahead of it, and it's like they knew what they were doing. They saw this coming in, and now look, you can't move for a Kardashian these days.
So true. At least it's a plant, though. I did enjoy the scene of it being, because we've just moved in. Well, I say that we moved in in between lockdown, did we?
Yeah.
I think we eventually got in.
No way! Gosh,
And
blimey!
We have a lovely garden that we came to, and I know nothing about gardening until I came to my house. And so I kind of related to the fact that Seymour was like, I'm giving you everything. I'm watering you. I'm feeding you. I'm doing everything you want. What do you want of me? And at the moment, we've got a bonsai tree, and I'm feeling the same way.
Oh no! I feel like PTSD when I had a bonsai tree. Like, I'm just gonna go in the corner and cry now because I did not have a good experience with that. I loved too much. That was my problem.
That's the same with me. I'm getting that way because it flourished and I gave it some baby bio and then I was watering it, I think.
Yeah.
And now it's like a twig and I'm like, does it need to be thrown in the bin? I don't know.
Or do you need to get some blood? Or
Yeah. Did you use one of those things that you stick in the soil and it just kind of feeds itself, or it feeds itself with the solution?
No, I have not used
Don't use it. I think that was the cause of death. But it did end up like in winter, and all the leaves are gone and you just got this sparse stick of a tree. Yeah, and I convinced myself, I was like, it's still alive, but I might as well just had it on stilts, just doing like a little marionette. Nothing. Just I love them, but I am so scarred by them.
It's emotionally draining, and I understand how Seymour feels because it's like, what do you want? I think it's that point of where he's like, do you really want blood? That scene where he does that.
Yeah.
But I can't even do it.
Oh,
kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like seeing this little plot just do like kissy lips too. Like, what?
Yeah.
What were they thinking?
I know.
What were they thinking?
And it just that scene stays in my head.
Yeah.
It does, and I don't know why. And he's thinking, no, I won't. And you can see this kind of like his morals. He's really testing himself.
As the song kind of says, anyway.
Yeah. Should I? Shouldn't I? And then he thinks, well, because we've had a Viennese flytrap, and I feel like this is like the equivalent as well. And I killed that.
How do you kill one of those? You just starve them you just give them like a vegan diet. Just go, you're having leaves. Like, no, one carnivorous thing.
I was just feeding it water, and then it never got any flies or anything.
Yeah, now the way of the sun.
I feel so bad for it, but again, a vegan diet is really very environmentally friendly, so I hope it realised.
Paul was like, you should have given it some of your blood and it might have lived.
You imagine the consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I could have been like Seymour, you could have been Audrey, Paul.
And you'd look like Donna Reed.
Do we want to talk about the songs for a minute as well? Like, I mean, revisiting these, and then obviously, like shortly after watching the film, like the past couple of days, we've been putting the soundtrack on Spotify again, and it's just so good. Like, there's always catchy. I really like the whole like soul vibe that the film's got going for it. I'm really big into like the R&B and soul and rap music is like kind of like the urban themes of music. Is
the urban
my jam, but. It just something about it is it's really just catchy and just easy going, really, for me. Yeah,
it really is. I said to Paul the other day, this kind of reminded me of an early kind of scene, so like Disney related. It is Disney, isn't it?
You're thinking of like you said Hercules, didn't you? Like the Greek chorus that the I don't know what the name is of them, but the women on the vase.
The Muses.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Straight away, them three women, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Hercules for me. And I love it. I really do. I love how they are meant to be school children, kind of like teens, but then they come in these like sassy, glamorous outfits when they're singing, and it just brings this whole new edge to it.
It's amazing. And one of my favorite songs, so there's three in particular I absolutely love. I love Skid Row towards the beginning of the film. I love Steve Martin's Orin for the Dentist song. I think that is just a hoot and a half, and you just can tell he's having the time of his life. But personally, my favorite one, and I feel really weird saying it because it's more of a sound you make when you're singing, but it's Dadu. And it's the one where, Rick Moranis' character, he's Seymour, is saying how he came across the plant, and just the way how the whole song is structured. Because what Moranis does so well is he kind of plays up to the fact that, he's trying to explain his day, but do it where he's keeping in time with the rhythm. He's keeping in with the atmosphere of the song, and like getting the story to the point. And it's a classic like Broadway or West End trope where they kind of, it's that talking kind of singing ness about it. And I just love how that whole song kind of fits in very, very nicely to get to where it goes to for the story. So, and as well, like just the background of like the three ladies throughout the films, where it just captures that whole Ronettes, Supremes, kind of Shangri-La's vibe of like the girl groups of the 1960s.
That's right. Yeah, I think the names of them are, one of them is called Ronette as well. So I think the names of the girls are like it's Crystal, Chiffon, and Ronette. So I think they're based on the 60s acts of the Motown days. So that kind of makes sense. And the songs where they're featured in, obviously they're quite high up there, I think. But for me, my favourite songs are when Audrey 2 is singing. Is it Levy Stubbs? I think from the Four Tops, who does the voice, and he's just
Levy Stubbs. Yeah.
He's I don't know. There's something about it. Obviously, again, more soulful baritone voice that he's got going on and everything like that, and it's just incredible to hear that kind of coming out of what I think is an excellent creature design.
I love the way how the plant is designed. You're absolutely right. It's again, like, even with the whole film, it feels like it's literally from the stage to the screen. I think it's done so well. And, you tend to get a lot of musicals that kind of run away with the fact that they're filming in the real world. And I think this film kind of encapsulates it perfectly. And absolutely, it does this to the best of its ability with the character of Audrey. I love the fact that it's all practical effects.
Yes.
There's no CGI, there's no computer generated imagery. This is somebody's hard work, and it's just so beautiful to kind of see this creature grow and grow and grow.
No, I'm all for having practical effects in films. Way prefer that to any CGI stuff that they churn out, and just for a quick fix of, this will look all right, I guess, and then it doesn't.
Where should we start with some examples?
It's too many to count these days, I think, is the problem. But it just amazed me, like, especially looking back at it more like focusing on it a lot more, like, oh my God, I can't actually believe they actually managed to pull this off with, like, essentially what Jim Henson Company kind of did to kind of produce this thing. And you can kind of tell with the fact that it's kind of like, Frank Oz directed and everything, and he's had a big hand in the Muppets and everything, so he kind of knows about the ins and outs of all that kind of stuff and everything. But I can't just imagine like how much effort they must have done. I know they kind of, looking into research, they kind of like slowed the puppet down, because obviously it's not talking that fast as it's doing. That's kind of just sped up for the purpose of the film. But even so, to operate the mouth movements and all the other, like the vines, the tendrils, and all the stuff that's got going on, it just seems mind blowing to think how much time and effort that would have been to operate all those mechanics behind the scenes. Yeah.
I love the colors that are used too. I feel like they really found an opportunity, rather than try and make it realistic or, really find its grounds of, what would a large plant look like? What would vines look like? They've just really gone in and go, no, this is a fantasy film. It's larger than life, and again, it's that flamboyant kind of camp element to it, which makes movies, especially like Broadway musicals, so magical. And I just love the fact that they really just didn't care about realism and what realism should represent. They just had so much fun with it. And I think that really animates that the voice, the character of it, it was just perfect. Just really, really perfect.
It really is, isn't it? And to be fair, this consumer side of things, daft as it is, if I didn't know that this plant would eat me, I would probably be the sucker that would fall into this, where it would be like, I want an Audrey too. Definitely, because it's beautiful. Until it starts talking to me, and then I'd freak out.
Oh yeah, just throw it across the room. Just get some holy water on it.
Yeah. I'm good at killing plants, but I think
Black belt right here.
I do think though when you said it was because I straight away said about Dark Crystal because you said it's I want to say puppet.
Yeah.
So then straight away I was like, oh
yeah.
What kind of are we dark? Is it like Dark Crystal? What kind of level are we going to go to? Because I didn't know what kind of. Obviously, I knew it was in a forest, so there was going to be a plant, but my head was going a little bit darker than what we get with Audrey 2. Yeah. So I was thinking, oh, it's going to be more like Dark Crystal, kind of sketchy, maybe dark that way, but it's not. And I love the fact that it's a scary, monsterish film, but in such a classic kind of musical way that you want. I don't feel like there's any other film out there like this, and I think that's what makes it special.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'd agree with you on that. Yeah.
I mean, even just thinking about musicals that have come and gone in the past 30, 40 years too, I can't even think of anything that comes near to it. I know that there's a zombie musical called Anna and the Apocalypse, which is it's pretty damn cool. Like it's very, very good, but that is the only thing. I don't know if Little Monsters is one of them with Lupita Nyong'o. I don't know if that's a musical. Again, it's apocalyptic and zombie-esque, but I can't think of another monster-esque musical that has kind of worked alongside with what Little Shop of Horrors has achieved.
No, I can't either, really. And I mean, there's that sense of the fact that it kind of like, well, I know it was obviously filmed in a studio, but it kind of like has that theatrical background to it and everything in terms of like what the visuals of where the locations are and everything. But that doesn't take away from the fact. In fact, that makes it more endearing, really, in a way that it's not like a big like, oh, it's in New York, walking down the streets and kind of stuff. It all kind of feels like it's almost like a storybook land, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
To reflect the stage performance.
I kind of felt like it made the world more compact, but it made you feel part of the community, like you were in that neighborhood, you were in Skid Row, and you kind of didn't know what side of sort of the class that you would fall into, because I think, and that's another good thing about this film, the fact that I think it highlights race, poverty, class, as well as obviously capitalism. But so therefore, like when you start to get to know certain characters like Audrey, like Seymour, you find like you're really rooting for them. You feel a lot more compassion to them than you would if it was a larger kind of world. In a way.
Definitely, I agree completely. I always feel like I get kind of attached to certain characters, and then I know it's a good film if I feel that way. So for me, you can laugh at me, Samwise Gamgee is my favorite. Like, I don't care about Frodo.
yeah, absolutely.
If it wasn't for Sam, he would not have achieved anything. And I feel like that's always like, if you've got somebody in a film that's kind of makes you root for them, then they've done the story writing perfect. Yeah. And this has two characters that you want to have do well. But the dentist. So, first of all, I forgot his name. Who's
is it Orin? I think
Orin. Yeah.
And what's the actor? So I've seen him in.
Steve Martin is the.
I've always seen him in good roles. So like Father of the Bride. He's always been a nice character. So this was really a shock to me, with him being like this mean character, because I've never seen that before. I don't know if he's in any other films that he's not a nice person.
I don't know. Is the jerk, because
the Jerk. The Jerk is he's a nice character in The Jerk. He's kind of a sweetheart in that one. Yeah, but you're right. He's not usually that much of an a-hole as he's been in this one, because he is not nice. He's not so mean. Such a mean guy.
I went to the dentist on Wednesday and we watched this that weekend, and I was like, oh my goodness, I do not want to go now after seeing that. I was absolutely mortified. I don't like going to the dentist the best of times, and then it was like, this is like my worst nightmare on TV now.
But he gets a real kick out of other people's displeasure and pain, and if you took out the concept of him basically being abusing Audrey, and you just kind of get introduced to him straight away when he's doing the dentist scene, You'd think, oh God, he's a bit of a rogue, isn't he? But no, the guy's actual trash. He is massive human garbage. But kind of weird when he kind of meets his match with a cracking cameo by Bill Murray, where he loves the pain.
Yeah, I forgot about
favourites.
Like
yes.
Being like a masochist, like, I enjoy it. I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, it's great.
So, that's when they take your jaw out. It's like, calm down, Mr. Murray. Have a Solero. Chill out.
I do love anything that Bill Murray does. He's just golden.
He is, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, Kingpin, I think, is like my favorite form of Bill Murray. Like, I could watch him and his crazy hairpiece for days. Never get bored.
Yeah. Speaking of hairpieces, we've got John Candy in this as well, don't we?
Cracking bit of hairpiece in the top 10 for sure. Amazing. How does he quaff it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm mesmerized. Like, does he blow dry inwards, or does he have like a curling tongue, like the one with the clip? Like, I mean, I love the guy. He was an incredible actor. He's just really, really great. But that hair was on point. But that whole scene where, because he's kind of this weird, wacky radio DJ.
Yeah.
And he pretty much just makes an entire weird monologue all to himself, while Blair Seymour's just there with little Audrey, just wanting to like have a shot on the radio, and he's talking about his mother-in-law's come in and someone's dead, and it's like, but really, hi, how are you? It's just, I just loved. You could tell like that was all probably just all on the spot, all like improvised straight away. But that was just how great John Candy was. Like, what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes screen time, and he still made one heck of an impact.
Absolutely, yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, and R.I.P.
Sorry to go off kilter, but have you ever heard of the theory of John Candy's character in Home Alone?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so nothing's ever been confirmed, and I think it's probably the internet just being internety. Yeah. But apparently, John Candy's character, so you've got Catherine O'Hara's character, she's dying to get back home so she could be reunited with Kevin. And she says something like, I'm sure she says something like, I'd sell my soul just to go and see him. Then John Candy's character appears. Now, the internet says that John Candy's character is the devil. So he essentially buys her soul, takes her to Kevin so she could be reunited. I mean, I don't know if that's Reddit having a day off or whatever, but that is the most bizarre theory I've ever heard about such a great John Hughes film. Why? Why would the internet do that?
I can't even believe that.
Right?
It sounds like something the internet would make up, but just for that's a curveball on the situation of what they might think of. Yeah.
And on a Christmas film of all things, like
very unholy.
There's no honour. There's no honour these days. You try and find it. No, not there.
Bad, isn't it?
I know, it's just really bad. Oh.
One thing I did love about this film, and I know we were talking about the songs not long ago. Yeah. The voice on Ellen Green as Audrey, I just it really blows me away, because she does this wonderful thing, how when she talks, she has a very fragile, very childlike voice. Yeah. You know, this is somebody who is actively asking for help without physically saying she needs help. Mm-hmm. You know, she's a damsel in distress. But then when she starts singing and you just see her come alive, this voice comes out of nowhere, and you're thinking, like, is that the same person? But it's almost like her inner strength coming out, and Audrey's actually a lot stronger than what she makes out. And it's the one thing that's always stayed with me. You know, you listen to it when you hear Suddenly Seymour or Somewhere That's Green. Yeah. You know, she has that sort of frail timbre to her voice, but all of a sudden the power just radiates out of her, and it blows me away every single time I watch this film.
I know, it's quite taken back with the, like, say, the squeaky childlike, excuse me, like, it's really really timid and everything.
I was surprised when she first spoke. I was like, oh my goodness, it's really squeaky. Yeah. I was shocked. Yeah. Straight away though, it came to Frenchie out of Greece came into
my yes. Yes, Frances, she is my queen.
I was like,
long live Frenchie.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is it the same person? Paul's like, no, it's clearly not Sophie. But I agree with what you're saying when Audrey was singing as well in Suddenly Seymour, that part where she's so powerful. It's a little bit like, you know, when Adele speaks, like, and you've got kind of like her voice and then she sings.
Yeah, it's quite a shift, isn't it? Yeah.
She sang, yeah. It's like some people sing, but she sang.
And I think she's one of the original from the Broadway cast, I believe, as well, isn't it? So she's the only one from the original actual Broadway shows. So that shows her powerful voice and her acting ability, I suppose, in terms of bringing light to the character.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
The embodiment that she has, you know, she really captures Audrey and makes her, I'd probably say, a lot more three-dimensional than what it would be on paper, because you think she's just this poor woman who unfortunately has very bad taste in men and suffers the consequence of it. But actually, you know, that there's, again, the whole thing about this film is layers, and I feel like Audrey is definitely somebody that has layers. You know, I think she's a lot more stronger, more wiser than what certainly Oren took her for. And, you know, with Seymour, this is somebody that really, really cares for her, just wants to be with her and love her. And especially at the conclusion of Suddenly Seymour, when, you know, they belt out that last note and then just embrace into a kiss. And I mean, it might be me getting old and I'm just getting softer in my old age, but it always just grabs me by the heart and just like won't let go. I just think it's such a real emotional moment that you feel it every time, every flipping time.
What about the point, obviously, with the scene the director's cut? I didn't know this was going to play out the way it did. Obviously, like Audrey Audrey 2 attacks Audrey, and then obviously like fatal bite to her, and then Seymour kind of like takes her out back, and it's like, oh no, you're going to be okay, type of thing. And then she's kind of obviously like singing, like holding her hand out, and it's like, oh, I want to let Audrey to eat me so that I can be a part of your world, or something. Is that something like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
So she can be with him,
a part of him. Yeah, so that's kind of like almost like quite a poetic way of them both kind of like being together in a way, and that's quite like a touching moment, and something I kind of prefer that it played out that way, because it kind of adds a bit more impact to the story, as opposed to like, I just killed the monster and then let's skip off into the sunset type of thing. Maybe it's just the cynical side of me. I kind of like a bit of depth, I suppose. But and then Seymour kind of like, then he obviously then thinking, right, I've kind of like got nothing now. I'm just gonna be with Audrey inside of Audrey too as well. So yeah. I mean, it's such a declaration of love where you're willing to be a part of that person's demise by entering that demise of your own, you know, having the mind that you've both entered the end of life in a very similar way. So therefore you'll be bound together for the rest of your lives, or the rest of your memory at least. And you're right. There's such tragedy amongst how their journey ends in this cut, but also it's the right one. That is the way how that should be encapsulated, you know, like I prefer the poetic side of it. I prefer sort of like the Greek tragedy, because I think this film is like a total Greek tragedy. Everything that Seymour cares about or loves or works around, like Audrey too just takes it all away, just eats it, consumes it, like devours it. And more Greek tragedies.
It really does get you though with Audrey, for me, when she says that, kind of gives me that feeling of like kind of whelming up, because she loves Seymour so much that she wants him to still carry on, and she can kind of feed Audrey too, and she wants him to carry on with his life, and it's that loving kind of connection. But you can tell that Seymour can't kind of go on without Audrey, so it's like this bittersweet moment of kind of seeing Audrey being so giving of herself so that Seymour can kind of be successful and carry on. And I really think it's poetic, but then a part of me thinks Audrey too is just conniving, because the way that he decides to go and get the phone like, how savvy is he that he can now get money out of a cash register and dial? How does he even know the number?
That's the point, yeah. Going in the phone book, just going, right,
incredible.
Okay,
yeah.
He's sassy, that's for sure. Weirdly,
definitely.
It's a love-hate one for me. It's like a bit like Marmite.
That's a perfect villain, isn't it? Kind of like, you love to hate, I suppose. Yeah. And that's what I kind of like about the creature as well. It's kind of like that goofy charm to it, because obviously, like, it's kind of like a smiling plant, like Sophie, you kind of mentioned in the blurb initially when you said, is it a bit like the plant from Mario? The kind of that big, like very cartoon like in that sense, but it's also like it does kind of fit into sort of like a realistic kind of design in terms of like the color patterns that a plant might have and everything like that. So there's a bit of believability there. So it's kind of a menacing presence in the film. So I think that's a really strong design of melding the two together, really.
I do love when there are villains, be it plant or non-plant villains, where they have that side of personality to them that you just can't help but love. Like an example of that I can think of is Gremlins. Especially Gremlins 2, the new batch, where there was a lot more personality to each of them. And of course you had the one that could speak with a very fine British accent that was very astute, and then I think he ended the film in like a suit with a little monocle or glasses singing New York, New York.
I love that.
But I love that, like, I think, oh god, I had a sort of pirated video copy of it when I was a kid, and the one bit that I always rewound to, I don't even know why, I think it's because I really wanted to be scared. The one bit I rewound to constantly was when Phoebe Cates was in the lift, and then the Gremlin's hands would come out and grab her ankles and her head, and I just, you gotta have charisma when it comes to villains, because then how else are you gonna almost care for them but not in a way that you would a hero?
That's right. Yeah, I know. You just got to embrace them a little bit, I guess, for what they are, and that is just how they are. That's how they've been written. So you got to kind of just deal with it.
I think it is, like, for me, like the Joker as well. He's, especially watching his background as well after that, then kind of, he's like my love to hate. So even though he's a really bad villain, he's so comical the way he does things that you kind of don't want to know. You're kind of laughing at what he's doing, even though it's bad. But at the same time, then when you watch why he's become that way, I don't know the psychology of his mind, then that made me kind of sympathize with him. So I was like, okay, fair enough. You kind of shooting and killing everyone, but I get why now. So it's okay in my head.
Yeah. That origin story is so important. So then you can kind of understand why that character or that villain is the way it is. And with Audrey too, it was the fact that, it got a little taste and it wanted more. I mean, that sounds like me any day of the week when I'm looking at my cupboards and I'm going, I could get a spoonful of Nutella and eat that jar dry, but I choose not to because I'm that bigger person.
That is such a good analogy. Mine would be peanut butter. Like, literally, I could eat.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you there.
I'm trying. There was something else I was going to say. It's gone.
Was it about what you would eat, or
no? It wasn't.
I could go on for days. Yeah. What would I eat?
My addiction at the moment is those Mawam sweets. Like just the little stripes.
Yes.
I don't know. There's something about them. They're just really delicious.
They have I don't know what it is, but I think it's like the juice. Like when you have like a fruit sweet. Yeah. Sometimes you can strike a goal with a fruit pastel is always nice, but then you get the ones where it's almost like a hint. So if you get something like melon, you might as well just be eating like a dry ice cube. But Mawams, I hear you, buddy. Like they are laced with something that just keeps you coming back for more. Oh, all that sweet flavor. Mwah.
Yeah, that's it.
So is that what your kind of orgy 2 would be? Is that literally we're going to feed you with Moams, and then you can take over the world?
Somehow, yeah.
You know what? I've got to say, even though I was saying about Nutella, my orgy 2 addiction, and I make no apology for this, Pringles. And I know it was a marketing ploy, but it really is true when they say once you pop, you cannot stop. And I felt that with all of my being.
But the serious question is, which flavour?
Oh, this is a whole cacophony of flavours now. I've got to say, if I could, because this one, for some reason, this flavour is always quite hard to get. So I love a prawn cocktail. Now I know it's a very controversial flavour because it can be quite almost too sweet, but it can be quite sharp, like when you have salt and vinegar, and it gets really sharp. So I would say that, but also can't say no to a barbecue.
Mine are probably salt and vinegar, but they can be sometimes very salty, and my lips go really like white. So you get, as a telltale sign.
Too.
Having yeah, don't know why that is, but yeah, maybe they just put too much salt on them.
You were like literally a child. He will be upstairs because he has his own little attic room, like a man cave. And if he's got he's got a drawer with snacks, and if he's got some Pringles in there, literally the giveaway is he's got the white lips that looks like he's got like white lipstick on. Like, have you been eating Pringles?
No. Of course
No. It does get that bad when you start having a secret stash, and I have been known to hide certain snacks, like that pop chips as well, a barbecue pop chip. But yeah, I've really tried to like not do that because I like to feel like I'm in a marriage where there's no secrets, but I really cannot hide my addiction to these tube crisps for any longer, and I feel any day I'm going to get rumbled.
It'll be the giveaway of the lips, I tell you.
Yep. You'll be like, white lips, I knew it.
Do we have anything else to bring up about the film before we go to the scoring?
Ooh, you know what? I'm looking at all of my notes, and I'm like, okay, special effects. We talked about that. Steve Martin, he's all on there as well. Got all the layers that I wanted to mention. I think we got it, guys. I think we got it.
I think we did, actually. Yeah. I've even got my Hercules point in and Killing Plant.
You know what? Absolutely lovely hearing about the muses. They are always overlooked, so lovely to hear them.
I used to love Hercules when I was little. I think my favourite Disney's. I'm so controversial, so this is why.
No, it's good.
So Hercules was there. I would say Pocahontas was definitely up there, and Mulan was my favourite Disney's. I wasn't like a Snow White girl or anything like that, or Cinderella.
Females,
strong females.
Yeah.
Yes.
Weirdly, Swan Princess. I do not know why. That's not Disney, is it?
No. Which one that is? Is it Dream? No, it's not DreamWorks.
I don't know. I was obsessed with that, and I do not know
why.
That one was like my main one, but even like it's kind of being cast into the shadows. It's not even like out there that much now, but I used to love that when I was younger.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, I've got a lot of love for like the Princess and the Frog. I think like that's such a underrated Disney film. I love Princess Tiana. Mulan, hell to the yes, like so good. And I don't know why. I think it's because it's quite creepy. Like again, love my layers, like a bloody onion me. But I do love Pinocchio because that film gets dark very, very quickly. And as a kid, I didn't really put all of that together. I just thought, oh, it's unfortunate that those young boys are being turned into donkeys. But I think like the layer, and as well, like there's a whole scene about baby oysters. And that seal kind of going, oh, come here, baby oysters. And it is so frightening. You're like, that needs like a BBC Panorama episode, because I'm sure like you three are all over that. It's just, it is so wrong. But it's so fascinating to watch. Like the whole, like, I mean, the film ends with like them in a whale's stomach. How do you get a film to that point? It's bizarre. Don't get it. It's just so weird. I'm like, yeah, I'm all for it. So yeah, There's that, and I think there's a live action Pinocchio coming up too.
I did see that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've. There's been many adaptations of it, but yeah, there's some, is it Guillermo del Toro? I think is he doing anything? Is it him who's working on it?
If so, I kind of hope that it is, because that would. You imagine like when the boys turn into donkeys, if Del Toro's in charge of that scene.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Jeez. I'm all in. I'm all in. Should we talk about Pinocchio? Sorry.
I need to watch Pinocchio again because all I can remember is donkeys.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while.
There's that. It's such like a mishmash, because I mean you have the donkeys, you got like the baby oysters, which is terrifying. A whale, you've got a blue fairy in there, you've got a cricket who talks. There's a whole there's like a puppet master. Yeah, Jiminy Cricket, exactly. And then you've got like this mad, like kind of marionette guy who like kidnaps Pinocchio. Basically, Pinocchio has it really rough in this story, and I feel so sorry for Geppetto. Like he just wants his boy back, but oh god, it's quite a traumatic film actually. Like I feel like I've opened quite a lot of doors thinking about it now. Should have just said Cinderella. Yeah, should have just said Cinderella. That's nice and simple. You lose a shoe, you get it back. Happy days. Why could it be like that?
Okay.
So yeah.
With that being said, I think we'll go to the scoring now. So we'll open it up to you first, Gemma. We always let our guests score the film first. So it's 1 to 10. And you can do 0.5s like we do sometimes with our films, but it can be any point system that you want in terms of like 8.5 or 8.2 or something. If you
how
want
mathematical
to go
you'd like it to be.
To you, but
I like that.
Yeah,
it's like a rating Richter scale. I'm down for that. But I'm gonna be really nice and straightforward because I'm simple. Right, so it's a great film. I can't believe it's taken me so long to get on board with watching this and realizing just how important it is in the world of pop culture. There are better musicals. I can't deny that, but I do understand its place in musical cinema, in Broadway, etc. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, because I love the fact it's so bright and it's so colourful and it is very memorable, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10.
You're pondering now. I can see you're gonna pass it over to me now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to. That's the way it is. It's you. If you haven't seen it before, it's you to score.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, musicals. Obviously, I would No, I wouldn't. I would. I would say Singing in the Rain is a 10 for me. That's like my high point. So I'm trying to barge kind of there. I don't think it's fully an outright 10. I can't really say that. I do enjoy it thoroughly, and I definitely think it's got rewatchable value over and over again. And there'll be so many things I probably haven't seen, and I'll want to watch it again and be like, oh, I didn't actually twig on that part. Yet again, so colourful. The music is really catchy. Audrey and Seymour, well, just God love them. They're better than Romeo and Juliet for me, that relationship.
Truth.
Yeah. And they both die tragically anyway, so it's the same.
Very.
Piece of Shakespeare there. And I just think it's overall enjoyable. I kind of really relate with the plant side of things as well, so I hope I don't get to the far point of having to feed it blood. So for me, I would say... I was thinking of it before, and I don't know if I'll reevaluate, but I'm going to go quite high. I'm going to go 9, and it's just because it's singing, it's lighthearted, it's the best monster film apart from Godzilla.
Right. Okay. Now, see, I'm in the camp of putting it high as well, but I don't know if I'm going to go above yours, to be honest.
You're going to shock me now.
Because I can't think of a reason why it shouldn't be so high up, because like I say, the benchmark, like similarly like you, Sophie, is for Singing in the Rain being a 10, and like La La Land as well, that was a 10. So I don't know if there's something about getting into like the musical side. Maybe it's just growing a bit older and being a bit more like open to them a bit more. But if they've got good stories behind it, as well as some musical numbers that I do like, then yeah, sure. But coming back to this after so long, and like how the music like took me back to from last time I watched it and stuff, and like all the vibrant colors and everything that's got going on for the story, the beats and everything. The creature design is pretty flawless, I'd say, like I've been talking about throughout this discussion, and just for the fact that there's this alternate ending that opens up so much more to the story, and it just changes everything. The aspect of like what I expected from the film, it probably would have been a 9 had it just been the white picket fence ending that it would from the theatrical version. But I think solely because it's gone with this whole like 20-minute alternate ending with the destruction and the thing that I kind of like, and it's kind of like a like tongue-in-cheek, like dark humor to it. I think it's going to be a 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I can't feel like I can not give it a 10 because of all aspects, like the singing and the monster that I like, and then just everything it has to offer really, and it's just so enjoyable. Yeah, and it's easy to come back to. I feel it's not like one of those things that you can't just here we go again.
And if you did rewatch it now, which ending? I'm guessing.
Oh, it's still go the director's call all the way now. Yeah, now
yeah,
I think yeah.
It's really nice to hear both of your reasonings as well. Now I'm like, oh, should I just shove my score up one extra and put it as an 8? I feel like an 8 is because I really like your reasonings, and and I think it is such a film. Like it's really hard not to not enjoy. You know what I mean? It is such an enjoyable film with lots of despite the fact that it's quite a dark subject, there's death going on. There's a bit of capitalism here, there, and everywhere. But it is just such a joyful experience to watch, and it's lovely to hear both of your reasons. And I ain't gonna argue with that. Completely agree.
Okay. So, would you like to change the score, or would you let's keep it?
Let's go 8. Yeah, go on. Shove it up a point higher. Let's do it.
Yeah.
How dare I? 7. How dare I? Ugh, I'm sorry you had to listen to that.
I was a bit worried, thinking, "Oh my god, we're really going to be like so much higher than what I was going to." Threw me off a little bit. It was like,
to be fair though, you did put Gemma literally like you guessed. So if we were like, you go first, then we're like gauging.
Yeah, you're like,
what do we
what's
think?
The benchmark here? Yeah.
But then I've done it before, and then I've had a really bad score, and I still stuck with that, and I can't remember what it was now. Oh, it was that weird one that you made me watch.
You have to narrow it down a little bit. So.
All I remember was this man came out of a suitcase, Paul, and I was like, how did he fit in that suitcase? And he was like, oh, Sophie, it's not real. It was all hypothetical.
Old Boy, I think that was.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you watch the American version?
No, it was the Korean one, don't worry. Yeah, the original.
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
I wouldn't put I wouldn't even put Sophie through that one. So
I got really frightened then. I was like, oh no, that would have been 0 out of 10, surely. Bonus numbers.
I did score it low though, but I think it's because I didn't get it, did I?
Yeah. It's quite a heavy subject though, I guess.
It was
yeah. Pinocchio levels of heaviness.
Yeah.
But I think this is definitely something I would like. I'd love to see like an actual some stage production of it and see how it probably by comparison it's probably nothing, but obviously it's with a budget and stuff. But I think it would be something I really enjoyed, like going to see like the Lion King or something like in a theatrical way. Yeah,
definitely would. I'm down for that if you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a thing.
Yeah, room for one more. I'd be so down for that. That'd be great.
I'd want to sing with Audrey though. I'd be like singing Suddenly Seymour with her.
Yeah.
Even though I can't sing, I would give it a go.
I'm just gonna lip sync and just pretend her voice is mine.
You'd be amazing at that. I can already envision it.
Many a times I've done it in my nights out.
Well, thank you very much, Gemma, for taking time to join us on this episode. It's been a blast.
Oh, an absolute pleasure. And honestly, thank you so much. It's been so wonderful recording with you guys. And just thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Where can people find you on the social media, your Instagram and Twitter?
If you like me sort of recommending good TV and films and berating the odd right-wing politician, you can find me on Twitter at that's Gemma P. And I like to be a visual person. So if you do find yourselves in the parts of Instagram and you like cat pictures, well, you come to the right place. It'll be hello_Gemma.
Excellent. So you can find out all our other episodes over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from. And of course, you can follow us on social media on Instagram and Twitter under the handle SP_filmviewers. So thank you once again, Gemma, for joining us. I hope that you've had some fun talking about this film.
Oh, I've absolutely loved being here. So thank you, guys. Genuinely, thank you. You're both absolutely lovely. So cheers.
So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.